Welcome to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so our customers can easily choose the best watch for themselves in the comfort of their own home. If you like this watch and would like to purchase it at the lowest price anywhere online, click on the link in the description below to buy it at JazzTime.com. Today, I'll be reviewing the Rolex Explorer 14270 36mm in stainless steel with a black dial and a very special edition Tiffany dial. I'll tell you a little bit about the history of this watch. Then I'll tell you about where it stands in the lineup of other similar Explorers. Then I'll tell you about the case bezel dial bracelet movement. Finally, try it on and give you my thoughts. So let's start with the little bit of history. Now, the Explorer has a long history, and its most famous claim to fame is that Hillary and Kensington wore this Explorer to Mount Everest. That's right. They wore the Explorer, hence the name Explorer, to Mount Everest. I think it was somewhere in 1960s or something like that. And yeah, it has since gone on to be its own collection and it's sort of in between dress watch and sports watch in the way that it looks, as well as the way that you see in front of you. It happens to be from the early 90s. And it happens to have a Tiffany dial stamped on it, which I'll get to in a little bit. But basically, they made this variation, the 14270, for I think quite some time. It was the 90s, from 1990 until I think late 90s or something like that. And after that, they switched over to a slightly different reference number, which would actually be 114270. But we're not going to get into the history of it. We're going to focus on this one. This is reference 14270. That's a 5-digit number, and this one's from the early 90s. Okay, now with that said, where does it stand in the lineup? Well, during that time in the 90s, which is when this watch was, and these 5-digit serial numbers or 5-digit reference numbers were, this watch is actually the rarest of all the Explorers. And why do I say that? Because Tiffany was working with Rolex, much like they do with Patek Philippe, and so when Tiffany would sell a watch, they would stamp it on the dial with a Tiffany, and that's what you see here, where it says Tiffany right on the dial. Actually, it says Tiffany & Co. because it's sold by Tiffany & Co. So it was co-branding. Now, Rolex doesn't do co-branding anymore, because they've gotten too big for that. But at the time, in the 90s, Rolex wasn't as big as they are now. So they did do co-branding with the monster company Tiffany & Co. And so some watches have this Tiffany & Co. Co-branding, and it really makes the watch much more valuable and more rare just because of this. And I'll show you in a little bit how you can tell that. One way you can tell that it's an original stamp, because you can get aftermarket stamps made to look like it, but they're not the same. We have all the paperwork that came with this, and I'll show it to you in a little bit. Okay, so with that said, let's start talking about the watch itself, starting with the case. It's a 36mm case, and that's actually considered pretty small. But back then, in the 90s, 36 was a normal size for a sports watch. Consider this: the old school Daytonas, let's say, for example, reference 6263, was around 37.5 millimeters. So 40mm watches didn't really start until, well, I guess they had the Submariner and GMT, so I take that back. But still, 36mm, for example, the day dates were all 36 back then. So 36 was not an uncommon size. In fact, it was the default size. 40mm Submariners and GMTs was actually considered quite big. And at the time, they actually did not have anything bigger than that. So 36mm was just fine. Now, given that the case size is going to be 36mm, the lugs and stuff are still going to be the same as they are nowadays. They're going to still have the same basic look, this oyster case, and it's going to be high satin finish on top with a more high polish on the side. Okay, that really has not changed at all. Let's look at the bezel. Also, there's no other bezel configuration. It's called the Explorer, not a Datejust. And so they don't have any fluting on the bezel or diamonds. You only have one option. In fact, you only even have one option on the dial. The Explorer is an interesting watch in that it really only has one variation, at least at the time when they're producing it. For any given moment, they only have one variation. They do have different variation sizes nowadays, but still, it's always classically been a black dial with 369 being Arabic numbers and all the rest being either a rectangle or a triangle at the 12 o'clock position. Okay, and that's what gives it this sort of retro, sporty, and unique look. You're combining both Arabic numbers and index numbers all into one. Okay, so that's the case. I talked about the bezel. Let's look at the dial here because that's really the most special part of this. Okay, so this watch was in the early 90s. They have, let me point out the hour markers first. You see index markers, and then you see the 369 are actually covered in white paint that's luminescent. Now, that makes the watch very legible, and you see these Mercedes hands. Okay, that's cool. But they actually also made another variant called a blackout. A blackout just means that the 3, 6, and 9, instead of having this white paint, it was covered with black, so it looked all blacked out. It was kind of rare. I'm not going to go into the story about why because it's all hearsay anyways, but basically there's no paint on the 369 and it's not as common, so in some ways it could be more valuable. It's hard to say. But at any rate, the special part of this dial, which is what I'm going to point out to you right now, is that Tiffany Co. So, as I said, Tiffany Co. I'm sure you know what Tiffany brand is, but Rolex was co-branding, selling their watches through another company, which was Tiffany, and when it was sold through Tiffany, they branded it with this thing right here. And I told you I was going to show you the paperwork. Now, there's many ways to tell if it's original or not, the year, the print, the way the font is written. You can even take off the dial to take a look at the back of it, see if it's engraved correctly. But another way, a more simple way, is if it has papers, and this one does have papers. And so look at the papers here, all right? And the thing is that you can see right on the papers, it's printed Tiffany & Co. Where the authorized retailer is, it says it right there. And it says, of course, the serial number, which if you take off the strap or the bracelet at the 6 o'clock position, you can see that we've matched it, of course. But you can see the style number. It says style number 14270. That is the style number. That tells you what it is. And then it has a couple other numbers there. I believe the A37, that's the dial. But the next thing is B7836. Okay, so what is that? That is the bracelet number. So if you flip it over and look at the back side of the bracelet, you'll see right on the first link 78360. Yeah, that's the bracelet number right there. Makes sense? Okay, but anyways, that's how they did it back then. So you can also tell by the papers. If it said, for example, instead of Tiffany & Co., like, I don't know, like some other store, Tourneau or something, then it would be Tourneau. It wouldn't have this Tiffany. So that's one way you can tell. Okay, aside from that, let's move on here and start talking about the next thing, which is the bracelet. The bracelet, as I said, you can tell if it's an original bracelet by checking it against the paperwork, and this one happens to be a 78360. It has hollow links, and if you look at the end link here, it actually has two-piece end links. Sometimes they have one-piece end links. This one has to be two. That's kind of old school, but that's how they did it back then. This is a long time ago, 1990s. This is over 30 years old. So, back then computers were even really just starting out. So, I mean, they had computers, but they weren't like mainstay, So, okay. And, so that's that part. That's the bracelet, and it has this flip lock bracelet. It's kind of old school. It kind of looks like a date chest. Now on the Explorers they changed them because it's a sporty watch. They changed it to a safety comfort extension, which means that has a double flip lock. You flip this lock over, and then you have another lock that comes over to ensure that it doesn't come undone. But this was a long time ago. That's how they did it. All right. Okay, so that's the bracelet. And now let's look at the movement here. Now the movement here is covered. You can't see it anyways, just like almost every Rolex, except some of the more modern Daytonas and 1908s and Land Dwellers. But anyways, back then they were all closed case back. You couldn't see it. But I'm just going to tell you it's a caliber 3000. And at the time, the caliber 3000 was really modern. It was replacing the old school 1570 movement, and which was replacing the 1016 movement. So the movements, they changed over time to make improvements. And I'm gonna go through all the like little minutia because you can't see it anyways. But basically, it has a 48-hour power reserve, 27 joules. It's pretty modern actually, and it has an accuracy of around 4 to 6 seconds plus minus a day. Which, if you think about it, for 90s, that's pretty darn good. I mean, they didn't really have the kind of technology that they have today, which is more than 30 years later. Okay. The hairspring, by the way, it doesn't have a regulator. They use this little timing weights, which is kind of old school, but back then it was, a big deal. So yeah, I mean, it's a simple movement, but it was revolutionary for the time, and they've since gone on to make even more revolutionary movements. Just like anything else, they make them better and better. Okay, anyways, it's a movement. It works good, and I actually tested on the time grapher, and it keeps pretty darn good time. I think that it was only off by like I think plus like 7-8 seconds, something like that. So considering that how old it is, yeah, that's pretty darn good. And it had a high amplitude of like 300, which means that it was keeping darn good time, especially for 1990s. But it's to be expected. It's a Rolex. They're known for keeping good time. Okay, anyways, now time to try this watch on my wrist and give you my thoughts. What my thoughts are now. I like vintage. I'm not the hugest fan of vintage, but I like vintage when it has meaning, history, and a bit of significance. And this one really has all three in that it has a Tiffany dial. The Explorer is a monumental watch in that it went literally to Mount Everest. At the time was the highest place, or it is the highest place on Earth, but it was an undiscovered place at the time. So it can really handle rugged terrain. And so it's really cool. And having the stamp of Tiffany just really makes it all the much more rarer. And I like the size. I can say, like, now if you want a larger size, 40 millimeter or 39, they have those. But, smaller watches are actually having a comeback, and they're doing really well. So actually a man or a woman can wear this. So I'm going to give it a thumbs up. And look, if you want to buy it at the lowest price anywhere online, go to jazztime.com.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model, and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.